Let's go do this. So if you have ever had a time in your life where you wanted to give up, where you wanted to just get to a place and you're like, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. But you have a big dream on the inside of you and you just don't know how to get it going. Well, tonight we're going to talk about that on the Everyday Leader Live because tonight's the night where we're going to talk about 5 hard truths about your business. And in those truths, we're going to kind of give you a picture of the landmines that you're going to face as your business grows. And that's going to be on the Everyday Leader. Guys, welcome to the show. I getting all the new toys now, right? Welcome to the show. Remember, let me know in the chat. Just let me know where you're at, who you use. But I got a big question for you guys in the chat. And the thing is going to be this. What was the greatest lesson you've learned in business? Now, your business could be simply that you are an entrepreneur like I am, or you're a side hustler where you're trying to build your side hustle into your main hustle, right? Or what they call freelancers. You can be a freelancer. Maybe you're somebody who like wants to start a business, but hasn't found that niche, hasn't found that thing. What has been your greatest lesson? What has been your greatest challenge in those things? That's going to be the question I want to hear back from you guys. What have been those greatest challenges? What have been those greatest lessons that you've had? Because I'm going to tell you what, over the last, I don't know, several years, I've had a number of challenges. And there has been times where I've been in business off and on. Like I started my first business when I was 6, right? I don't know if I've ever told you this story, but maybe I have on a previous live. But I started my first business when I was 6. When I was 7 or 8, I had a second business. And when I was 9, I had a third business, right? My first business, right? This was back in like 1986, 85, something like that. I'm dating myself here, right? I was like 6 or 7 years old. I was a huge fan of Ghostbusters. How many of you others are huge fans of Ghostbusters, right? I remember when it first came. I mean, like the original one. Not the Hollywood knockoff that they've got now, the one where they try to reboot things because they're running out of ideas. But how many of you guys have had like are fans of the original Ghostbusters, right? And so I was that guy. I was a fan of the original Ghostbusters, and I was allergic to bees. And the was that I decided that the problem in the world I was going to solve was create a business called Bee Busters. And the Bee Busters, where I got my little logo, it had a bee with a little sign in it. I had my little fanny pack and my little box. Remember, fanny packs were cool in 1984 or 1986. You know, don't even judge me, all you judging people there. But in 1980s, fanny packs were the rage, right? In the 80s and the early 90s. But the deal was that I had that thing, and I got soaps and I got pesticides, and I went around and I sold people my services. Now, I don't know if they paid me because I was cute. I don't know if they paid me because they really needed the services. But like Sean just said, who you going to call? You were 1886. You were going to call Jim, who the Bee Busters, right? That is who you were going to call. But I made money, right? That's all that matters is we make money on things that we're passionate about that solve problems. When I was like 9, 8 or 9, I said, you know what? Let me make some more money. So I'm from Philadelphia, guys. So I sold soft pretzels. When I was in school, I got candy and I at a cheaper price and I sold it at a higher price to these guys, right? Whoever wanted candy would pay me $1 and I bought it for like 50 cents. So I made double my money, right? And then I went through a series in my life where I didn't know about landmines, right? I was like 10, 11 years old, but I was a budding entrepreneur and I didn't know about landmines. And so I hit plenty of them. I hit a number of landmines. And the deal was that when I hit these landmines, I quit my business for almost 15 years, almost like maybe 15 to 20. But I was still entrepreneur. Like I decided to go to college. I ended up with a master's degree. I ended up doing all these things. But I was always entrepreneurial. So everything that happened in my life was revolved around being entrepreneurial. Like the fact is I couldn't keep a job for longer than like 3-4 years. And that's either boredom or the fact that I'm an ENFP or something. I just couldn't keep jobs long term because once I got bored, I walked out. I was like, I'm done. Let me go find something else to do. Right. I was this person who, whatever I did, have to have creative freedom in there to do the things that I wanted to do because I had to create. I was built that way. Thus, I got it when I got into ministry. One of the natural progressions of being in ministry was to plant a Church. And for all you guys who aren't church people, let me explain what Planet Church is. It means you go to a city that you've never been to, or maybe you've been to, and you start a church from scratch. Like nothing was there. You're there, boom, church. And some of you guys on the stream were part of that church. But here's the deal. But it was an entrepreneurial venture that really got me to a place that showed me what it was like to grow a business, to have to market, to have to do audience, to have to manage budgets, to have to do all these things, communicate regularly, build messages, build value, build all these things, and bring all these personalities together around a common thing. And so, with that being said, guys, I've always been in the entrepreneurial space. It wasn't until about 5 or 6 years ago when there was some crazy stuff happening in my life. And I don't know how much of my life you've followed or how much you've been on the show and seen some of the things we've talked about. Was one of the things is that my wife was diagnosed with some mental illness, and I'm diagnosed with some autoimmune diseases and stuff. So we had a lot of medical stuff. And it felt like when that started happening, then my life began to crash. If that has ever happened to you, where you've gotten to a point where you're building a dream, building a thing, living that stuff, doing something, and then everything seems to fall apart because it crashes. It's like, boom, right? And it seems like it dies. And I got a die sign here. Hold on one second. Nope, that's the buzzer. But, it gets to this place where you are once where the momentum you had no longer is there. And that happened to my family, to me and my wife. And it was in those moments where I was given a choice. It was in those moments when we're faced with hospitalizations for my wife's illnesses and me trying to manage doing some business, doing a church, doing this and doing all these things, that it got really to a point where it was just too much. And so through prayer and different things, and it was one of the hardest decisions of my life, guys. Like, I had to step down from the church I loved. It was my baby. It was my heart. I gave everything. We saw hundreds of lives transitioned and saved, and school systems and all sorts of stuff. And the deal is I had to give that away, because where I felt that we were being called to was to focus on my wife's illnesses, right? And focus on getting healthy. So we took that journey, we won over those places. And when we got to this place, we moved to a place we'd never been to before. Like, we moved to Orlando. Like, we had been to Disney. Like, who's my Disney people here? Like, I'm a Disney freak. I love Disney, particularly Marvel. But so the deal is that, like, so we moved here and we didn't know anybody. I'm sitting out. I'm not doing church. I wasn't doing ministry. And it got to the point in our story where I couldn't work, because my wife's illnesses got to a place where it just shut us down. And it's not her fault. I want you to understand that, because there's too many times where people blame other things for other things, right? That's not the stuff that you and I need to understand. What happens is life does happen, things do happen, but how we respond to it is what matters, right? And I can't say that we didn't respond in a bad way. I think we responded the best we could. But what it forced us to do was to make some decisions. And it forced it to a place where we were like, hey, we have got to make sure that we're doing the thing, right? Making money for our family. But I couldn't be away from the house because of the stress that she was under and all those things. And in that time, we got to a place where we were like, I was given this big choice: go back to work or start your business, right? It wasn't like somebody said that to me. It was like, hey, you really can't go back to work. You're on your own. So the entrepreneurial in me reached back down from when I was 7 or 8 years old. And then I was able to, like, reconnect to that, like, hey, I've been entrepreneurial my whole life. Why not do the thing that I love to do, that I'm built to do, that I'm designed to do, and get out there and do it? And so I started doing that again a little while ago. I became a coach. I became a trainer. I've been a speaker for like 15 years, and I was coaching people for free for 15 years. So we began to and make a business around those things. And like everybody's business, we had our ups and downs. We had these things. We went through these growing pains, and we're still like, you ever get in those places where you're just frustrated because you're trying to grow your business. You're out there doing the thing. You're hustling, and you just see, and then COVID hit. Oh my gosh, COVID hit, right? But if you didn't have a certain set of things in place, then you got hit hard by COVID. My business actually grew during COVID because we were already online and people were looking to grow online. And so now get this. So in recent time, And in recent story, we got to a place where we chose the business. Yeah, I went back and I did get a 9 to 5 job. I hate 9 to 5s. They're like death to me, but it was for the insurance purposes because my wife needed the things she needed, right? Because I'm going to do whatever it takes to take care of my family. And I hope that's you as well. So we did those things, but I started this business and I got it going and we're moving and we're moving. But it was been focused around leadership. But then I started asking the questions like, what is it that people are really asking? What is it do I know? And what do I have a lot of experience in? And it's starting about growing your business, right? It's about growing your business from getting you to a place. And I've spent thousands of dollars in training and failures and all these things to help people get to the knowledge and get to the skills and get to the applicable things that work to help you grow your business from nothing, right? To go to say, hey, listen, maybe you're trying to start your business and you're just trying to do the thing, get on podcasts, get on publications. Maybe you're trying to be a speaker or a trainer or a coach or sell online courses. Guess what? I've been there, I've done it, and I failed miserably. And then I made successful times. And so I know the little nuances to help with. And it was in these times, it's the hardest times that shape the greatest times. I want you to know that. It's the hardest times that shape the times. And it's in those stories, guys, that you are going to be birthed into a great business because I believe that your business is literally going to change lives. If you're watching this, I only work with purpose-driven, heart-driven people, right? So if you're somebody who's that purpose-driven person, then you know that your life, your business is going to make impact. So we've got to get that thing launched. We got to get that thing going, right? But along the way of doing this for the last 20 years, whether it was for free or for paid, there was some things that I've learned. And I'm this is what tonight we're going to be talking about is those things about what we've learned along the way that's going to help you in giving you 5 truths, 5 hard business truths, right? Let's move some of these things off the screen. Let's get this up there. But 5 hard truths in business that I've learned along the way that I want you to get because if you can get it now, right? If you can get it right now, then you're going to learn one thing. You're going to know that those that are unaware of landmines will be blown up by them every single time, right? Those that are in the place of landmines, if you don't know them, they will get you. And I don't want them to get you. I don't want them to blow you up. I want to give you some 5 things that are going to give you those things that are going to give you the equipping you need, the vision you need to get past them. And these are things that I've learned the hard way. And these are things that I know a lot of my friends have gone through too. So I want to share this with you. But before we do it, let's say some hellos in the chat there. We've got there that sometimes this was the question I asked. What are the lessons? This is from Sean. And sometimes you have to sacrifice and break even or not make anything at all to succeed. Absolutely. That's a great thought there. My brother Mike from Leadership with Mike. Hey guys, if you're a manager, and you really want to know how to manage people, you're a mid-level manager, go over and see Mike's channel because that has got some fire going on for you manager types. But you know what? It is what we do, right? And this is where it comes into, and I thank you for this. Rough seas make the skilled sailors. Absolutely, my friend. And I do appreciate all of your thoughts and your wisdom on and how it adds to this place. All right, let's look at this. So we really talked about this. What was your greatest lesson? So if you were going to be in here, what was your greatest lesson of business of life? Sean said he's like, sometimes you got to break even and not make money to get your name out there, right? And so if you got anything else, throw it in the comments. Let's begin. 5 hard truths about business, starting with number 1. You'll want to give up. How many of you have ever wanted to give up? Like legit. How many of you have ever wanted to give up? Like you can say like right now, I wanted to give up at some point because you're like, whether it be frustration or something, whether it be like, yo, I'm just tired. I don't know where to go. And you just got to a place where you're like, I am done. And I want to share with you, that is a normal feeling. When I coach people, this is one of the things that come up probably the most often. If it isn't like perfectionism, it's I just want to give up. I don't see momentum. I don't see it happen. I don't see anything going on. What is that thing? How can we fix this thing? How can we get past this thing, right? Because I just want to give up. Well, the deal is that you've got to know something that it's only seasonal. Your feelings are seasonal. And I will tell you this, listen, never make a long-term decision based on a short-term feeling. Let me say that one more time for you guys, for the guys in the back who haven't heard that one. Never make a long-term decision on a short-term feeling. So some of you, and this may be you right now, are like, I'm ready to pack up my business. I'm ready to give it in. I'm ready to just say, the heck with it all. But you've not gotten to a place where you just said, well, you're at where you're at right now is you're trying to make a long-term decision, close down something that could be extremely profitable for you, change your life based on a frustration that you have right now. Listen, don't make that, because that's the place you're in. If that's where you're at, don't make those decisions when you feel like that. They also say don't make those decisions when you're hungry, hot, tired, and all these other things. So don't make those decisions during that time either. But it's strictly about not making long-term decisions on short-term feelings. Because here's what I know. Feelings change. Feelings shift. Your feelings, you may feel like you're mad at the world one minute, and the next minute you're going to be like, yo, I'm okay now. Let's go take the world. You see that hill over there? I'm going to take it. You see that fire? Give me a water pistol, because I'm going to put that fire out. And then there's one minute being like, yo, look at that gnat in the wall. It's so nasty. It's going to kill me. You just get to this place where you are at this moment of feeling, and we want to make our decisions based on our feelings. Never make your decision based on a feeling. Make a decision based on your vision. What is your purpose in life, and how is your vision going to be accomplished in life? Let your decisions be made on that. Because I'm going to tell you, my purpose in life, I don't know about you, but I journal, right? I journal a lot. This is like and there's many reasons I journal. One of the reasons I journal is because I want a legacy to leave to my children, and so that they can see all the journals and all those things. And one of the reasons why I journal is that. Another reason is because it gets my thoughts out. This is like my 5th journal. So if anybody ever wants to send me anything, you can send me either cryptocurrency or journals. I love both. So here's the deal. But the deal is that, like, so I was sitting there, like, and the question I asked, let me ask you, I'll read you the question I wrote. I said, because I've spent a lifetime helping others find their purpose and helping others find the problem they're here to solve, because that's who you are. You are here to solve a problem. There is some problem out there that you are uniquely designed to solve, right? And I'm a man of prayer, and if you're not, we welcome you to the station. We welcome you to the show. I just want you to understand that this is my context. This is what I believe. And so I wrote this question: what problem am I here to solve? What is the life problem that I am uniquely geared to solve, and what is this my season to solve it? And so I begin to pray, and I begin to think about this, and the reality of it, and my heart, and here's what it is. My purpose is simply this, is that I am here to resource people, to teach people how to make money so that they can live out the purposes in their life, the God-given purposes in their life, right? Whether that be to give more to the church, whether that be to start organizations, whether that be start foundations, whatever that thing is, I am here to help you unleash your God-given purpose, God-given design, and God-given responsibility to get your business out there, get your business launched, and get you to a place where you're making money. That's why my mantra shifted from, be a leader worth following, which I 100% believe, and it is what I believe. It's what I live on. But it shifted to get moving, get noticed, get paid. Why is that? Because the simplicity of it is, my heart and my purpose in life is to get your business moving, get it structured, get it organized, get it growing, to get you noticed, get you on stages, get you published, get you out there, get you building your YouTube. I'm a YouTube nut. I love YouTube. I study this stuff. And then to get you paid, because why? Value follows money. And if value follows money and money follows value, the more value you bring to the world, the more money you'll make. So if you can get people to notice that you're amazing at what you do and your business is structured, you will get paid for it. And thus, once you get paid for it, you can sow into the kingdom of God. You can hire people, that you can get out there and start giving to your greatest organizations. Whatever that is, you can do, but we've got to get you to a place to make that profit, right? But why do I tell you this in the context of this one, of this number 7, or number 1? But the why I tell you is simply because that is my purpose. If you would have asked me last week when I had a rough day, I would have been like, yo, y'all, peace out. I quit. I don't want to be on the live stream. I don't want to do this. It's too much. I hate it. I was done. I had a migraine. I was mad at the world too, because I can't eat a cupcake. Right? Even a gluten-free cupcake, I struggled with and got a migraine for the whole day because I ate one. All right, I ate like 3. But still, it was like, yo. And so I had a rough day. If I would have made my decision, my long-term decision based on that short-term emotion, I would not be here with you right now. Not at all. I'd be like, yo, peace out, killing the live, killing the business. All y'all go find your own way. Right? But I didn't. Why? Because my vision in life, my heart in life is to get you moving, get you noticed, and get you paid. That is it. And because I have a vision of you, because I have a vision of your business getting out there and being the impact that your heart has been geared to make, I refuse to quit. Where are my other people out there? Who are my other people who are like, I refuse to quit? Write that in the comments. I don't care if you're live with me on the replay. Write that in the comments. I refuse to quit. I want to hear you. I want you to empower yourself to do that, because that's going to be the hardest part, is when you want to quit. And it's just really, really, really going to be that. All right. To answer the question here, Michelle says this: be careful who you share your vision with, because some people cannot see it and will tear you down. There's so much truth in that. Welcome to the show there, Nat. We're so grateful to have you. I'm glad you're listening there. So then we got there, Nat and Michelle saying 3. I'd be struggling to make myself be good with that too. Hey, listen, I am on such a strict diet. It kills me, my friends. I'm telling you. Here we go. Michelle's like, I refuse to quit. Yes. I'm loving this. Yes. We got to, hold on. Nope, not that. Where's my crowd? Yes. For all you guys, we got the crowd. Not buzzing. I quit. Listen, your dream is too big to quit. Your dream is way too big to quit, guys. I don't want to see you quit. I want to see your businesses out there. I want to see it thriving, which is going to bring us to number 2, right? And if you think about this, this is the landmine that you've got to be aware of. This is not like negative to scare you. This is positive to keep you aware of what is down the road, because here's the deal. More problems, more business equals more problems. But it's not a bad problem, right? These are not bad problems now, but because here's the deal. The complexity brings challenge, right? The more complexity you have, the more challenges you're going to face. But if you're a leader, if you're somebody who's got your business settled and you've got your vision, you got your things going, you're going to face challenges. What happens if you launch your business and you're growing way too fast? That's a good challenge. That's a challenge everybody wants to be like. When I launch my workshop this month, I want it to be like all the spots are taken, right? That, and I have more people than I can handle on a live or on a webinar or something, right? I want that. But that's going to be a problem. That's a good problem. Those are problems that if you think ahead of time, you can solve, right? And as you launch your business, as you launch your product, as you launch whatever, you can sit there and say, what if we hit max capacity, right? Lose all the junk in your head about what if we don't have one person show up? What if we have one person show up, right? What if we don't make $100? What if I get one sale and that's $100, right? Change how you think, but understand that the more complexity you have in your business, the more challenges you'll have. And the landmine of this is you're not ready for complexity. It will sink you, because then you'll go back to number 1, which is you want to quit. So keep it simple, guys. That KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid, or keep it simple, silly, for all you guys who are on that end of it. But the deal is that you don't want, at the end of the day, to be complex. Like, I struggle with the whole complexity thing. Like, my mind is a visionary. And I'm somebody who's going to constantly be thinking and planning and scheming and doing all these things, because I want to touch so many people's lives. And I'm like, I'm living in my best life 5 years from now, not today. Have you ever had that struggle? Like, you're living in your best life, but your best life is 5 years from now, and you know it's there, but you're building to that every day, but you're living in that. So you're frustrated with today. And that's where I am. And so I'm trying at times in my business, I'll have 5 different things I'm trying to start, when I have to get back and say, and knock on my forehead and say, hey, no, that was wrong. Boom, nope, that was wrong. What's the right thing is pick 1 or 2 things, right, that you're going to be like, I'm going to master these. Maybe it's getting books on Amazon. Maybe it's your coaching program. Maybe it's a course you want to launch. Maybe it's something like that. Maybe it's a coaching. Maybe it's online. I don't know what that is. But whatever that thing is, pick 1, maybe 2 things that you want to master, and master it. Because at the end of the day, when you master those things, you, my friends, will find that you don't have much complexity. So then you can hire people to take on another stream in your business. And I like what Sean says here. Sean says, 2 years ago, I was at the point where I wanted to give up. My heart wasn't in it anymore, and I didn't like doing what I was doing anymore. I realized I had to change my situation. I love that, Sean, because 2 years ago, You're an incredible musician who's playing in bands and doing all these things. And so wanting to quit those things is natural and getting in there. But I love how you pivoted. Like, that's what I'm talking about, is where I don't want to quit. That attitude where you're getting into these places and you're not doing complexity. And now you probably, let me know in the comments, do you enjoy what you do now? 2 years after that time, were you ready to struggle and just give up? That's a seasonal thing, right? And I want you to, number one, put that in the comments and let's have that conversation. I'll throw it up on the screen. But the rest of you guys hear what he's saying. I love this, and I want you to get a hold of that, because when you understand what is being said, he said, "Hey, 2 years ago, I was going to give up. 2 years ago." And he pivoted, he shifted, and 2 years later, he's better than he was 2 years ago, right? And that's what it is. And when you face those feelings and you get complexity, you want to quit more, remember, don't make a long-term decision based on a short-term feeling. Make a long-term decision based on your purpose and your vision. And the feelings will come and go as it changes and shifts. So here comes number 3. Let's see if I got my drum roll working pretty good today. Uh-oh. Here we go. And boom! Number 3. I got that on the point. But I like what Sean said. He says it was the best move ever. It's the best movie ever made. I love that. So here's what I want you to tell you. Now, this is, again, my whole purpose is to encourage you. My whole purpose is to get you realizing that there are landmines out there. My whole purpose is to help you see what you really need and what's going on, right? So with that being said, the number 3 thing is somebody wants it more, right? Somebody wants it more. And I say that because, yes, I'm not a big fan of the word competition, because I really am not feeling like I compete with anybody. I feel like you got your style, I've got my style, people will hire you, people will hire me, and so forth and so on, right? Those that connect to you will hire you, and those that don't won't, right? So there are those things. But one of the things that you've got to understand is that these are the moments you allow humility to develop. Let that sink in. You allow humility to develop. And how many of you guys really have ever seen like those entrepreneurs, the gurus who like, I'm everything to everybody, and I just buy them all of my stuff and you will make $600,000 in 3.5 seconds and all will be well in your life, right? You ever see those guys? I mean, obviously that's a little bit of exaggeration, but it feels like that sometimes. And you're like, oh my gosh, why does it feel like that sometimes? But the deal is that you will always have somebody who can do what you do better, right? And you have the option. You have the option to either A, crumple under that knowledge, or B, put yourself in a place of humility and ask yourself, what do they do that I don't do? How do they get better that I can get better? Right? Leaders who can change the conversation in their head are going to grow their business. Right? This is the part where you're leading your business, not working in your business. And when you can sit there and say, hey, I am going to be the best that I can be where I am in my context, right? And in my context, and the people I serve, right? This is why understanding and defining the audience you serve is so important, because it comes down to the audience you serve and the problem you solve. And then when you find somebody who's in that area, those people who serve your people as well, and who solve similar problems, but maybe solves it better because they've been doing it longer. So those are the questions you start asking. How are they doing this? How can I get better? What can they teach me? And get yourself to a place to allow humility to develop, right? Because those entrepreneurs who walk in humility are those entrepreneurs that will grow like wildfire. And I want you to get that, because your confidence will come from your humility. Learn from those around you, and you'll never feel like you're in competition, but everybody around you will sharpen you and make you the best that you can be in the context that you are. So let's just kind of sit over here. And again, before we go into the next one, which we're coming down to the slides, I got 2 left, and I think these last 2 are going to be very, very big for you. So I want you to hold on there. But before we do that, for any of you guys coming in there, get the thing. The whole thing here is about get moving, get noticed, get paid. We want you to get your business moving forward. We want you to get noticed by the audience, by the crowd, and we want you to get paid, because a worker is worthy of their wages, right? If you put the work in, you should be able to get money out of it. That's how it works, right? If you struggle with that sin, like I'm willing to put the work, but I'm afraid to ask for money, then you have a problem with the relationship with money. And that is something that you're going to need to deal with. And if you don't deal with that early, when you start actually building your business will never take off because you don't relate to money properly. So you'll always undervalue yourself, undervalue what you sell, and undervalue all that, right? Which really brings us into the next thing. And I'm going to go ahead and do this right here. And with that being said, it's about, will you will plateau somewhere. Every business does. In some area, you're going to plateau. And just be ready for it, right? I want you to be ready for the fact that you will plateau somewhere, because this is what it is. When you add more complexity, when you add more like the different things and different shoots off in your business, you're going to focus on this, and this one is not going to be focused on. And whatever you don't focus on tends to die, right? And so where it dies is where it's plateaued. So like Sean, I'm going to pick on you for a second because you have an incredible business and I love the model. He is a musician and he does all of his marketing. He gets out there and they do all of the things, calling, booking, and all that stuff. And with that being said, like if he is pushing hard and he's hustling and he's making phone calls, or whoever in this band makes the phone calls, books the gigs, sets up the whole thing, gets paid, all that stuff. If there is one step in that's missing, like you're saying, well, we have to practice more, so we're not going to call as much. You're going to end up being the best musicians in the world with nowhere to play because you've plateaued on your lead generation. The same for you coaches out there. Some of you guys are so good at making stuff that you're not lead generating. So therefore, you have amazing stuff that nobody will ever see. So the idea is comes down to the fact is that you're going to plateau somewhere, but change sharpens you. So begin to look at those things and say, if I'm plateauing somewhere, I'm not getting as many people in, I'm not lead generating as much, I'm not doing any of that stuff. When you're at a place of plateau, you have to take massive action and massive change. Change as many things as you can in as short a period of time as you can and get that thing rocking and rolling. And it may come down to it to where you actually need to hire somebody for that leg of your business. And that could be a VA, a virtual assistant, for all you guys who are listening out there for that. That could be a VA, somebody who does the work that you don't want to do. That could be a sales representative. That could be a booking agent. That could be something. When you begin to outsource your business in areas that you didn't want to do anyway, or you're struggling with because you're good here, you're not good there. When you begin to do that, you begin to bring back to life the leg that has died. And I want you to hear that, because there is going to be places that you plateau and you don't have to if you are prepared for it ahead of time. Prepare for it ahead of time. And Sean said this, and I love this. Sean said this. Sean said, so true, the world's greatest garage band. Yes, sir, the world's greatest garage band ever. And I don't think that's who you are, because I don't want that. I'm going to take a drink of water real quick. Yeah. All right. So here's the deal. So as we get down into our last one, and I want you to come to this place where you understand that these hard truths are for your benefit, because these hard truths are here to help you realize what's coming or what you may already be facing, and then put in your mind a plan on how you're going to deal with it when it gets here, right? And the last one, let's do the drum roll again. Drum roll, please. I love my sounds, guys. You know I love my sounds. And it comes, boom. And it comes, you will be copied. The better you are at what you do, the more people want to copy you. The better you are at what you do, the more people are going to try to plagiarize you. I want you to hear that, because, again, how many people out there, and see, be emotionally ready. That's what really it comes down to. But here's the one thing. This is where I get into this whole thing. Now, if they're copying you, and they will, they'll take your stuff and they'll put their name on it and they'll be like, boom. There are times where you're going to go after that and you're going to shut it down and you're going to be like, yo, and you could talk about all the things, the legality of it, all that stuff. But then there are times where you're just going to be like, yo, that was just no, just let it go. You're going to have to be emotionally ready for it, because people are going to copy you, right? I see things like if people are going to take your model and make it theirs or change it to a place where it doesn't even recognize it as your model anymore, that's one thing. But if it's like legit your model and they're just implementing your model and calling it theirs, that's going to be something you're going to have to deal with, and something that I've watched a lot of my higher end seven-figure friends deal with, and they're having to deal legal stuff because it deals with their brand. I've dealt with some of it, and the deal is that you, my friend, when you get there, let me say it this way: when you get to this place and you're so good and people are starting to copy you and you've got copyrighted material, you've just got to be emotionally prepared. Number one, you're going to feel betrayed at first, and then you'll get accustomed to it. Like, you'll feel like, okay, this sucks, but it's, it just happens, because the internet is full of trolls, and trolls suck. And trolls do what trolls do, and trolls try to make your life miserable. And that's all it is. And they're gonna be like, "Mm."
You didn't say the magic word.
You just got to shut them down. You just got to get it in there. I will just say this though, and Michelle said this. She says, best form of flattery. If it's cute when it's not costing you money. Let just hear what I just said. Flattery and imitation is cute when it doesn't cost you money. If it costs you customers, time, and profits, it's not cute anymore, because then it's costing you your business, right? And it's not a question, again, it's not a question of my business, your business, all this stuff and all this. It's a question of, I'm not going to let anybody take from me what I've spent so much time building, right? And so there are a place where you've got to learn to protect yourself in certain ways. And then there are ways that you're going to be like, okay, what is this hill I'm going to die on? And what is the hills I'm not going to die on? And that's where you've really got to have these conversations, because these conversations are going to happen. They're going to be tough, but you've got to have them internally, because again, it's all about emotionally getting yourself ready, emotionally ready yourself to say, hey, if this happens, how am I going to respond? Never react to these things, because that's what they want. But you respond in a proper manner, and when you respond correctly, then you're able to get to a place where you can do the right things to make sure that it doesn't happen again, whether it be to put trademarks on it, put more copyrights on it, send out legal messages on it, whatever that is, depending on how proprietary your method is, or depending on how that is, then you'll know the right steps. But an emotionally charged mind is a confused mind and never makes the right decisions. Why do you think that people fight so much in their marriage, right? When they get angry, they don't make the decision to react properly, or respond properly, like walk away till you calm down. They just go after each other. So it escalates the problem. And now you have anger and anger and anger, all this stuff. And the deal is that it just creates bad decisions. Anger creates bad decisions. So if you're going to react in an appropriate manner, or respond correctly, I keep saying react, but it's respond. But if you're going to respond in an appropriate manner and not react to the situation, you've got to prepare yourself before it, right? Those that are going out to battle don't prep themselves in battle; they prep themselves before it. The guys who are entering in the UFC rings or the boxing rings or the martial arts tournaments spend hours of training in the dark before they step out into the ring, right? Because you don't prepare yourself in the midst of battle. You prepare yourself in the midst of the quiet time, of the silence. And so prepare yourself for the trolls, but don't let me give you the other side of that too. Don't be at a place where you are so preparing for the trolls that your anxiety is out of this world. You don't want high anxiety, because again, it's understanding that it will happen at some point, especially if you get really successful. But it's also understanding that it's nothing but another thing, another problem that you'll deal with as it comes. Do not put your focus or energy on these too much, because you've got a business and you've got a world out there who needs your business to show up, because the impact you're going to make is going to change their lives. So focus on the 50 that need you, not the one that's going to take you away from it. That's really what you're preparing for. So the deal is that I'm going to focus on my loyal, loving individuals who are loyal to the brand, loyal to me, and love what I do, and their lives are changing. They're making money. They're doing the things that we promise. And the one that's like, yo, and they're just like a little troll guy with their noses up, and they're all like, yeah, those guys, we're just going to ignore that guy, and we're just going to take the appropriate the appropriate actions that we need to take, whether that be block or everybody block or turn them into terms of service or legal stuff, whatever that is. But remember, you're always going to focus on the ones who need you while dealing with the ones who are just trying to troll you. And that's really what that comes down to. When you can find that balance, when you can get to a place where you're finding that balance, these landmines will be nothing to you guys. And that's really what it comes down. I mean, like, what stood out to you guys out of the 5 for you guys who have been here at the time? If you guys are just popping in now, make sure you watch the replay. But here's the deal. What of these things, what stood out to you? Like, what was one of the ones that you say, this was something that really spoke to me? Tell me in the comments. Let me hit that up. And then as you're doing that, I'm gonna put some little mood music on. What we're gonna do? We're gonna do. Told you I like some bounce music, but I like hard rock too. Like I like some like I used to listen to screamo. But so here's the I know right. So here's the deal. So as you're doing that, can you if you'll do me a favor, and you can't see that because as we bring the show close to an end, I want you to do some stuff. Like you can ask any questions. Like I want to answer some questions, and we can do that live here in the comments. Do that down there. If you're not over here or haven't followed me on YouTube, I want you to do me a favor. Do this first. Go to www.leadwithjim.live and give me a follow. Give me a subscribe. Hit the like button. And then I'm going to ask you also to take a moment and anybody that you know that could benefit from the content that we make on this channel, please share it with them because I'm trying to grow the influence here to give people value that's going to change their lives. And when every time somebody hits the subscribe button, hits the like, or shares the video, YouTube says, "Hey, this video is good," and it begins to show it to more people. And then also there, you guys, my guys over there on Facebook and D Live. Let me talk to you guys on Facebook. Hey, listen, share this out on your timelines. Hit like, tag some people in there. And you guys on D Live, that's my new crew over there. That I'm building a little bit of a platform over there. We welcome you. We love that you're here with us. I've been streaming over there for about 2 months now. And D Live, for you guys that don't know, it's actually a live streaming service that's built on a blockchain. It's a cryptocurrency platform, which is really cool, but it's not about cryptocurrency, but it's built on the same platform that cryptocurrency is. So it's super, super fun, super cool. And I'm actually really excited about that. So I'm trying to learn it, trying to figure out what's going on there. All right. So Sean says this, he says, number 5, you will be copied, especially if what you do successful. Yeah, absolutely, my friend. Absolutely. That is one of the biggest things. And you just got to be emotionally ready for that. I mean, like, seriously, like, if you're not ready for that, then you're just going to get to a place where you're going to struggle. And I don't want you to struggle, right? Let's see. Here's a rock. I knew I had a rock somewhere. All right, let's look at this one. Here's a question for if someone is on the autism spectrum, high functioning. Now, just for this question, I'm gonna turn that music off for 1 second. If someone is on the is on the autism, the ASD spectrum, but is high functioning or what used to be called Aspergers, okay, so may have a problem recognizing or dealing with some of these, absolutely. And so here's the deal with that. That's never a cut and dry moment or a cut and dry conversation, and I appreciate you bringing that up because here's the deal. Asperger's is on the spectrum, but I don't know if they like the high functioning part because that's a whole different conversation because they're definitely changing some of the way they diagnose that and some of the way they thought about that. But the big thing about Asperger's is it doesn't have that connection to how people interact with them, right? There's a definite silence or a deadness in the understanding of how that interaction of relationships. So you're right where it says they don't recognize dealing with some of these. So in that case, so let me give you a couple good tips on what to do with that. Wherever you see a deficit, not a defect, because this is not a defect, because I'm going to tell you, there are people out there with Asperger's who still don't know how to recognize dealing with some of these issues. Okay, so that's nothing, but it's just more amplified when you have ASD. And for all you guys out there, I've worked with ASD and students of disabilities for several years. So one of the things you're going to realize, and if you're a business person, and people with Asperger's are huge. Elon Musk has Asperger's. Bill Gates has Asperger's. Okay, so 2 of the richest people in the world both have Asperger's. And one of the things that they get hyper focused, right? And with the hyper focusedness of that, they do tend to ignore this. So a couple things you're going to want to do. If you know a weakness, and guys, this is for anybody in business. If you know a weakness that you have, then find somebody who you can bring on your team that's going to cover your weakness. Now, That could be the fact is you could hire a social media manager who at the beginning you're not going to have this, right? Because you're just starting out. But at some point you're going to put in the money to hire a social media manager, and their job is not only to just post, but make sure you tell them, "Hey, I need you to make me aware if anybody's trying to do this," right? You think Bill Gates checks his stuff all the time? No, he has people that hired that goes out and polices that. So you're going to want to have somebody on your team who's going to do that for you. So it's the same thing in leadership. You always surround people, put people around you in your weak areas as you do your strength. So wherever your strength is, double down on your strength and get somebody around you who is going to be in your weak areas. I think the second thing that I would do, or I would just suggest in that, is build your business around with the proper methods. So if you've got, like, if you're writing a book, or if you have an invention, or you have a piece of music, get it copyrighted, like legit put like trademark on it or whatever it is to protect it. If you're that afraid that somebody's going to steal a proprietary thing or something like that, then put copyrights on it. So when you do notice, you have the legal right to go after them. That's why like Napster and all those things failed years ago, the music downloading service, because they were all violating copyright protocol. So they were able to be sued and basically shut down because they all violated copyright. The same thing goes for business. If somebody steals your logo, if somebody steals your method, if somebody steals what you do, your books and all that, and just rewrites it according to them, if it's copyrighted, there's a big thing you can do about it under the law. So number one is you have people around you who are strong in your weaknesses. So if you have Aspergers, or you don't, or you struggle with recognizing these things, emotions, or people trying to take advantage of you and things, then put somebody around you who's going to protect you. And the second thing is, on your stuff that is the most important stuff that you have, put copyrights on it, right? And I think if you started with those two, I think that would give you a good hedge of protection around you at first. Because remember, when you just get started out, you're not going to have that level of trollness at first. It will come, so you can build up to that. But just again, be prepared for if it does show up, that you already have gone through your head, this is what I'm going to do here, and this is why I'm going to do it. So have those goes. That was a great question. I like that, bringing in our brother and our sister on the spectrum. I don't think we talk enough about that. Where people who have disabilities, I know on this channel we talk a lot about like mental illness with my, because my wife has some mental illness, and I have some autoimmune, so we do talk about some things and how to deal with business in those contexts. But I don't think we've talked to anybody about our brothers and sisters on the spectrum, and I appreciate that conversation, because guess what? There are a lot of people out there who are high functioning autistic or high functioning Down syndrome or something like that, who are very successful, right? Let me say it this way: your illness doesn't define you. Your illness doesn't put a limiter on you. You are only limited by how much of your story you're convinced of. What convinces you keeps you. So if you think that your disability is truly a disability and not just a label that you have to work around a different set of parameters, then you're always going to stay at that lower level. But when you realize that your disability, I hate the word disability, but when you understand that your disability is not your identity, the sky's the limit. You just have a different set of challenges than somebody else. And so if you have a different set of challenges, then all you have to do is find out how to overcome your challenges. Not how to overcome my challenges, not how to overcome next person's challenges, how to overcome your challenges in business and what you need to build to be successful. And that's really what it comes down to. And I think at the end of the day, if you just own you, and you realize that you're a child of God, that you are purposed, that you are designed to impact this world, that you are you are the solution to someone's problem, and you sit there and say, okay, this is all true, and I'm going to do this, I'm going to move forward, and you get into this place where you're like, these are my roadblocks, right? It could be the 5 I shared tonight, or it could be the fact that you do have mental illness, or you do have, ASD or Down syndrome, or some other type of illness that keeps you down. Like an autoimmune, like, and there's thousands of those. But whatever that is, it's saying, I'm going to do business and build my business in the margin, if that's the case, and say, when I'm up, we build it. When I'm down, we rest it, right? Or if it's like that social emotional challenges, I'm going to pull some people on my crew that can deal with that stuff where I can't. So those are some things to think about, guys. That was a great question. And before we get out of here, before we call it an evening and we say it's Tuesday evening, we've got, so every day, not every day, but a couple times a week, we do post videos on the channel. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, we'd love you to come over here to subscribe to the channel. You guys on Facebook, shoot on over here, leadwithjim.live, and you guys on D Live, same thing. Also on Facebook, I do have a growing and thriving community, the Everyday Leader. Over there, just Google the Everyday Leader and you'll find the community. And we want to make sure that you guys get connected. Love to have you in there. But with that being said, I am going to peace out. I'm loving each and every one of you guys. Remember, invite people to some of these lives. Put this on your calendar every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Put this on your calendar because I'm telling you, there's going to be some epic stuff. We're even going to leave on the epic music. This is going to be some epic value dropping for you because I love you and I want to give you as much value as I can. And then as I do that, I want to bring you in to the family under the memberships and things that I have. That's going to even take you from this value and give you some applicable, solid, practical, tactical stuff that's going to help you get that business going. Reach out to me. Much love. And with that being said, we're going to end the stream on that.